everyone. Joey Philippi from Truly Confident Women. Today I have another great interview I did with a woman named Becky Magill. She is out of Easton, Pennsylvania, where her and her husband own their own wellness center. She is a licensed massage therapist and empathic therapist. So if you're looking to get some relief from pain or injury, they are a great resource for you. And in our interview, we had a really great conversation. So without further ado, enjoy. First, start by telling me what you believe a confident woman looks like.
A confident woman she is prepared. Like, she has her shit together. Uh, she knows who she is, and she knows what she wants, and she stands her ground, but she's not a bitch about it. Like, she doesn't force other people to do what she wants to do. She's gonna go do what she thinks is best, and you can follow or do your own thing. That's cool, but she's gonna go do what she's gonna do. In the Bible, there's the passage in Proverbs 13 or 31 about a woman, a virtuous woman. And if you read through that, that's sort of what I think a confident woman looks like. Like, she's got her act together. Her family, she's got everything under control. She's good.
And do you know where that's at in the Bible?
That is in Proverbs 31.
Okay.
It's pretty much full chapter.
Okay. Just in case if someone wanted to find that, and I wouldn't mind revisiting it. So that sounds awesome. Growing up, was there any great advice you received that changed the outlook of your life or current situation?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I thought about that question for a while, and I don't recall anything specific. I spent a lot of time with my dad, and my dad is a very confident individual, and I think it just sort of all rubbed off on me, just from watching my dad and how he interacted with people and how he treated people.
That's awesome. So you're not the first person that said, that's not the case, or that a male role, even though, as you've read through the questions, they are a lot more focused on women and that side, but that men can be just as big of a role model and a confidence builder as women, for sure. So it's awesome that you had that really good role model in your life.
I'm daddy. I'm a good dad.
What are some key moments in your life, or a key moment that you believed created your confidence you have today?
Actually, it was a time period.
Okay.
When I was younger, I grew up in a really, really small town. And when my mom went back to work full-time after my little sister was born, I spent, my primary caretaker was her oldest sister, my Aunt Jeannie.
Okay.
And she's 17 years older than my mom. So they're far enough apart that she was more like a grandma to me. And she has always been a big, huge reader. And between the time I was 4 and 5, she read me all of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh, neat.
And that's a really cool, epic hero story for little kids. But I think it was really important in my development because she was reading me these characters that I didn't realize until later that I would identify so strongly with. So my need for justice, my need for right and wrong came quite a bit from what she read me those. And I think that a lot of it developed. And my aunt is from a different time frame than my mom in history. So she has this quiet confidence of her that, she was raised in a time frame when women didn't really do anything. They didn't really have careers necessarily. And she's just always had this quiet confidence about her and just this magnetism. She draws people to her. So she's little and tiny and adorable.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting when you, I've had an opportunity to interview, I think she was in her early 90s. And it was just interesting to just hear her, conversation about these same questions, and just different world, being in the war and what that meant and helping out and just a different dynamic in family, and they're all really great answers, but just completely different to someone that's in their 30s right now. So it's just, or even someone that's in their teens.
Never been before. Yeah.
Yeah, or it really experienced some of the things that obviously other generations have. It's just, it's interesting. That's cool, because I bet you she's probably just a crotch rocket inside of, piss and vinegar if someone would make her mad, but she's just very poised and quiet, but no one's probably going to push her around if they tried.
That is very true. I've watched one person do it, and my little 5 foot nothing, and she doesn't even have a voice box. She was in a severe car accident 50 some years ago, and it shattered, like they had to take out part of her voice box, so she doesn't have the ability to speak like you or I do. It's all various tone whispers. And despite the fact that she cannot shout, I watched her put someone like 3 times her size in their place, and I just stood back like, okay, go for it.
Don't mess with her. Yeah. Becky, what advice would you like to pass down to the next generation of women?
Oh my God, please use your brain.
Yes, so much.
We've become a world of sound bites and BuzzFeed and just how can we party better next weekend, and how am I a victim? Like, how can I look at society like I'm a victim because I'm a woman, or because for any billions of reasons. Right. A, you're not a victim just because you're a woman. That takes away from real victims. And B, use your brain. Stop believing everything TV tells you and everything magazines tell you and everything that you see in movies, because for crying out loud, there's a reason we go to movies and watch TV. It's because it's not real.
It's entertaining.
Judging your life, exactly. Judging your life based on what other people think is entertaining it's not going to get you very far. Stop believing what the news tells you about other people. Stop worrying about what other people do, and just go and live your life. And stop worrying about what someone else your age is doing, or if so-and-so has more followers on Twitter or Instagram or whatever the heck other stupid apps you're on. Stop worrying about it. Like, just go live your life.
Yeah. It's so good. No, it's kind of a slogan about like my truly confident women as like a larger thing that where I want these interviews to plug into, of just awareness and changing how women treat each other and things like that. Is one of them is I want you to start, looking between what's going on between your ears instead of other parts, because we are so focused about this highly sexualized world. So that obviously means vaginas. Like, it just immediately makes you think of, and there's so many opportunities where for some reason women are talking about their legs are open or closed or however they're dressed, and it always has this sexual innuendo that's just weird. Our brains back up to our head and really think about, what are you thinking? What are you doing? What interests you? Yeah. So I 100% agree. Use your brain, people, especially women. Yeah, that's awesome.
And become educated. Like, don't just take anything at face value. I see so many younger girls that, well, I'm going to vote for X candidate in the election. Okay, well, that's cool. Why? Well, because he says this. Let's stop and think about that for a second. Does that actually make logical sense?
Right.
Let's use our brains. And so few of them. My husband used to work at a college, and he would come home every day like, they're 21, 22 years old. They're old enough to technically vote, and this is why our country is going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Or just how often you'll hear this statement, well, I saw it on Facebook. I mean, there's even memes and jokes about it. It's like, not everything you see on the internet is truthful. Like, haven't you paid attention to how media will mess stuff up always for their own better good? So yeah, exactly. So it's just funny how, Yeah, that education piece. And that doesn't mean, like, exactly what you're saying. Like, you don't have to get 12 four-year degrees. Just read books, read articles, read multiple articles on the same subject, and then make your own opinion, which I think people are so scared to do because people aren't encouraging that anymore, which is kind of weird. Well, it's not weird, actually. Then they can control people. It makes sense, but yeah.
Bingo.
Yep. So who do you look up to as a confident woman, or a few key women in your life, and why? And then how did this person or people influence you becoming a confident woman today? So who, why, how?
Well, my Aunt Jeannie.
Yeah.
My Aunt Jeannie, which I explained. I don't really. I had some great professors. I know a lot of women will say their moms, but I think my mom's on her own journey, and it's very different than mine. Yeah. I had some great professors in college who were. I went to a Christian undergrad, and it was an amazing school, and I loved it, and I would do it all over again. But it was there. I would say it was mostly male professors.
Okay.
And despite the student body being 2/3 women, and that wasn't a problem. Like, we had great professors, but female professors were usually married and had their kids and taught part-time, or their kids were older and they could teach full-time. And I remember there were a couple professors, female professors, who were not married and did not intend to get married. And I really admired them in that they were not afraid to say, oh, complete person, don't have to be married to be complete. They were very well known in their field. They were great. I get a lot of inspiration, actually, from scientists from the last probably 150 years, female scientists.
Cool.
There's one named Emmy Neither. Well, was named Emmy Neither. And there was this joke in my family, that's my mother's maiden name, that, family lore would say we were related.
Oh,
not.
Cool.
She was a mathematician.
Okay.
She did all of the math for all of Einstein's theories, because Einstein failed math. He couldn't do math. So she was the mathematician behind Einstein's work.
Interesting.
And it was, and she was barred from taking classes, and she snuck in and took them anyway. She was barred from teaching, so she taught under her male colleagues' names and did it anyway. She was Jewish in the era where Nazis were rising to power, and she was a woman who taught, and that was just the end of it. She was going to do it, and everybody else can either fall in line or get out of the way.
Yeah.
And I really love that story, that she is who she is, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, and she chose to follow her path no matter what the consequences were going to be. She was going to find a way as long as she was breathing. That's pretty awesome. I didn't know that about Einstein. I'll have to look her up more. That sounds really cool. That's awesome.
Einstein gave the eulogy at her funeral, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. But I was like, that's so cool. But that's sad because she died. But that's really neat. That obviously then they were good friends.
Well, she would have died.
What was that?
She would have died by now anyway.
Yeah. Well,
so.
Yeah. But that's neat that they became friends. It wasn't just a colleague relationship, obviously. Yeah, because just stories from him, he wouldn't do anything he didn't want to do. He didn't care. So that's cool. What obstacles do you believe exist today that interfere with women's confidence?
Other women.
Yeah.
In my experience, it's almost always other women, whether they know that they're doing it or not. You often hear women talking about other women, and it gets back to people. I mean, I don't know why people think we're dumb and it doesn't come back to us. It does. The internet is a big one to interfere with women's confidence. Photoshop, that's a big one. women's magazines, and really a lot of media. So I would just say media, because they manipulate messages and they do it to control women, because they have found the magic combination to mess with women's emotions and to mess with their sense of well-being. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I find in my life women are much more grounded in their sense of well-being than men.
Yeah.
Men will go out and slay dragons or go to war or whatever it is they'll do, but you don't often see women do that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I love the fact that you did bring up initially we're each other. I mean, us women. Just because when I I have my social work degree, and so I'm just a very inquisitive type of individual that's always a learner and like analyzing stuff and just trying to figure things out, and know that I'm not the smartest person normally ever in the room. So I'm always asking questions, and I just started looking at how much women are horrible to each other. And, I think there's so much of that is the reason why, we are in the places that we are, and that, it's just until we start figuring out how to support each other, how can we expect, like, even just a different gender, just males to support us, let alone all these other great areas of business or certain careers or in the military or whatever, fill in the blank, that's even a more complex scenario if we can't get our own shit together amongst our gender. So I like that, because that is something that I see as a need and a huge passion of trying to bring awareness to, that we just need to quit being so mean to one another and just bite our tongues when we want to try to tear each other up. So that's awesome. And I agree. Yeah, media is crazy, and just the false reality between what the cover photo looks like prior to it being adjusted, and how women need to have that knowledge to understand it's still for entertainment. And so they're going to make something for entertainment to look the best, most pleasing, picture, whatever. So it's not going to be real. There's going to be something fake about it. And those are both really good points for sure. Becky, are there any areas in your life you feel less confident? If so, why?
I own my own business.
Awesome.
So there's a lot of areas I don't feel that confident, because my background's also in social work and education.
Cool.
And so as well as I do, they don't train you to run a business when you get a psychology degree.
No.
You don't learn any of that. And so when I lost my job, mm-hmm. shortly after I got married, I worked at a private school for a year or so, and I lost my job. And I had, around here, no one was hiring teachers or social work. Nobody was hiring. And I had always wanted to be a massage therapist. And so my husband and I scraped together the money, and I went to school for that and got my diploma and my license. So as a business owner now, I own my own wellness center, where I've got a couple of people who are contractors. They come in and work, and it's fabulous. But every day I walk into work going, okay, now I have to be in charge and make the decisions. And I know I can do it because I've done it so far for 3 years, but I don't feel confident in sales. Mm-hmm. Yes. And sometimes I look at it and I'm like, okay, cool. There was never a point in becoming a business owner where I looked at it and said, oh, I'm going to do this. It was just decisions that I had to make along the way. Right. And now I look at it and go, I'm not bad at this. But there's a lot of things that I'm not confident in terms of running a business, owning a business, like sales. I'm really not confident in a public image. Mm-hmm. Of like what my public image is to the faith, like to the society. I know who I am at home. Right. I know who I am as a massage therapist and as a healer. I know all of that. What I don't know is I'm not confident in who I am as a business owner. So if I go to networking events, I always feel like really self-conscious because there's, oh, so-and-so's over there is a massage therapist. Oh, I'm sure she's better than me. Or
Mm-hmm.
so-and-so over there is, you know, such and such. Things like that. So that I'm not real confident in, but I also know that I don't have a choice. When you own a business, you got to go do it whether you like it or not, so go do it.
Well, especially if you want to survive. And that's the thing that you also realize is you're like, I think, sounds like obviously you read a lot and you like to learn and grow. And so I bet, I'm just guessing, that the fact that you know you're not as confident about certain things only inspires you to get better because you don't like that. So, you know, I mean, the fact that you're going to
and I don't like feeling
right.
Yep.
So, I mean, just from the messaging over, raging over Skype, stupid Skype, but we're happy that you're working. Thank you. You know, just, yeah. So I think, but that's, I mean, I get it. Yeah. It's just, it's not an easy thing. And sometimes it's funny how, you know, you decide, like even me, like, you know, I've turned my degree into doing this coaching business, and creating this community that I want to do some really big, awesome, crazy dreams type stuff with it. But I mean, I'm not at a point yet where I quit my job. So I still, you know, do crisis mental health work, which is crazy and fun. But, you know, I think you don't wake up going, what was that?
God bless you, honey. That's rough work.
Yeah.
My husband's a drug and alcohol counselor.
Okay. The county that's around our capital in Salem. And we have 2 teams that have one mental health professionals that are paired up with officers. And we go out to 911 mental health calls. So, you know, I wear a bulletproof vest and I have pepper spray and a radio, and you're right in the amongst of all the crisis, but it's showing a really good collaborative approach to helping people that are mentally ill or drunkicidal or on drugs, whatever, or maybe D, all the above, but getting them help rather than getting them put in jail and other places that won't really get them farther to play, you know, just to get the services they need or get them to play nice in the sandbox, whichever is what's best. But yeah. So, but I love it, but yeah, it is really intense. I'm sure from hearing some of the stuff that your husband deals with and stuff, it's not something you do, I mean, for long term. And that's the thing, is I want to have freedom of my own time. So, but yeah, I didn't wake up thinking, okay, I'm going to have this, what is the business going to look like? You don't really know. And then all of a sudden it's turning into things, and you just kind of have to figure out a way to coexist with the flow, or it's not going to work. So that's awesome, though, that you keep pushing forward and are making ways to change that. And 3 years is huge for staying open as your own business. That's pretty badass. Mm-hmm. So make sure you give yourself more props for that. Yeah, exactly. For real. So, what is your business called?
It is currently called Magill Massage and Wellness Center.
Okay.
We have some, our DBA laws in Pennsylvania in terms of businesses, you don't have to file fictitious names or DBAs if you use your first name, your last name, and what you do.
Oh.
So I filed as my last name and what I do. But now with my husband coming on board as a holistic counselor, and I have a woman who comes in who does adaptive yoga, and a woman who comes in and does quantum biofeedback. No, we can't really use our last name anymore so much.
Oh.
We could, but we're going through the rebranding process. So we have a meeting with a lawyer in a couple weeks to figure out how we can structure this so if we get sued, we don't lose the house, blah, blah.
Right, yeah, that's so important.
Yeah. It's important to keep my house and my car and, you know, my dogs.
Yeah, exactly. Your dogs sound pretty cool. Yeah, so you don't want to lose those.
No.
Well, definitely.
You need that stuff.
Definitely, if people are watching this, we'll have to make sure that they check it out, and I'll put, you know, contact information and your website and stuff like that. So if people are in the area, they can come get some good, you know, readjustment and relaxation and wellness in their life if they don't have it. It'd be awesome. We got to support local small businesses for real. So that's cool. What areas do you struggle with in your life personally or professionally that hinder you from being confident, and how do you overcome those? We kind of maybe just answered that, but if you have anything else to add.
Um, I struggle with weight
Okay.
because I have an autoimmune disorder, which often means that, you know, I'm on steroids or off steroids and my body doesn't react to things like a normal person's would. And growing up in my family, it was like fat was the very worst thing you could be. Like, it was, you know, in some of my extended family, it was probably better to be like a thief than to be fat. And so being
weird.
overweight, right? Although some of my family are rednecks, so
yeah, but normally
just not
rednecks
count them.
goes
But
with like steak and potatoes and killing deer and shooting guns and
yeah, well, I mean, if you, to be fair, my husband and I shoot guns, but if you've got to like track your food like 8 miles through the woods to kill it, then you probably burned it off.
yeah, exactly.
And not all my family are like that, but some. And if they're, in growing up, that was kind of like the worst thing you could be, was fat. And now as an adult, to have disorders, I can't control my weight. I could run 5 miles a day. It wouldn't matter at this stage in my life. That is very hard to do in our society, is to accept that your weight is what it's going to be for right now. And it'll change in the future, and that's fine. But we see everywhere, you don't see fat women on TV unless they're a joke. You don't see fat women in movies unless they're a joke. And to live in a society where basically people judge you on your body size, whether you can control it or not, that I struggle with a lot. I don't know how I overcome it, except that I really just, there's an inner part of me that just does not give a crap what people think. And I have to sort of rely on her to deal with that sometimes, where I just don't care. And deep down, I would rather be fat than emotionally ugly like some people are.
Yeah, that's true. And also it's a good reminder that, you know, some people get so quick to judge someone that's overweight, thinking that they're just, that equates to being a fat slob or not caring about their body, or they have no thought about their future of like health, like living a long life. And that might not be the case. That person could be eating as clean and as perfect for like nutrients for your body and stuff like that and being healthy. But yeah, there might be another issue of a medical condition that, one, they don't have to explain it to you because it's none of your damn business. But two, like you don't know their story. So maybe just quit being so quick to judge, because until you know their story, you don't know everything to make those judgments, even if you feel like you have the right to anyway. That's a good point.
Yeah.
How do you work on continuing to be a confident woman in today's world? Do you feel like you know how to work on your confidence?
I don't think I know how to work on my confidence. At this point in my life. I'm learning. I think that's what I should say, is I'm learning that it is something like anything else. It takes regular work on it. And for most of my life, I've just relied on that part of me that just does not give a crap what people think. But as I get older, as I become more of a business owner, and as I'm out in the public and as I'm doing things, I realize that inner bitch doesn't really, I can't rely on her 24/7. So I'm learning to work on my confidence, but it's a process, just like anything else. We teach so many things in schools that are so completely worthless and useless, but we don't teach kids this, and this seems like a much more important thing than super advanced algebra.
Yeah, and it is interesting, and you know, I mean, just my 2 cents of for you is that, the idea to build confidence, yeah, it's just like what you said. It's a muscle. It's just something that you have to work on every day. And my biggest thing is that I think that helps the most is just surrounding yourself with positive people and things. And so if that's obviously your core group, hopefully all those people that you're close with are, bombastic and supportive. And then outside of that is, reaching out to different Facebook groups, stuff like that. I mean, my Truly Confident Woman's pretty awesome. It's all inspirational stuff, and it's real, and it has a taste of me in it. And I'm just, shamelessly plugging that. But I think those are stuff like that, though, and that's where it helps me when I feel better too. Is like, I can get on and look at the other inspirational stuff that I follow through Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and be able to just get a little pick me up of that, quotes and stuff like that. I think that's the biggest way that it's for free, because there's so much online beyond, if people want to start paying for stuff and that, like there's coaches and things like that can do too. But it's just so inspirational when you're around other people that are like-minded that want to help. And that's where some of like these Facebook groups are so awesome, because we're connecting with people that I would never see, but it's nice to have other women entrepreneurs to talk to and bounce ideas off and not feel crazy. So
that's important.
Mm-hmm. For real. Sometimes that just the support is, I think, a bigger deal than we even probably fathom of how much it affects us. I think being alone can be pretty killer to someone's psyche and mindset. I mean, and that's just from my crisis work. Yeah, seeing that kind of stuff would be crazy. So I believe a confident woman to live with intention requires bravery. What does it mean to you to be brave, and how you live your life?
Being brave in how I live my life basically means to do what I know is right, even if every other person around me tells me it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And our chiropractor has a bumper sticker on his car that has always struck me as so very deep and profound for a bumper sticker.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, "The truth is the truth, even if no one believes it. And a lie is a lie, even if everyone believes it."
Mm-hmm.
And being brave in my world is to stand up and say, no, I'm not going to do what every single person I know is blindly doing or following, or, what they're doing. I'm not going to do it because I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's right. And I'm really, really blessed. God has given me an amazing husband who we agree on so many things just by virtue of who we am. We am. By the way, it's like 8:15 at night here.
Yeah.
By who he is and who I am, we are very much alike without trying.
Yeah.
And so if I say to him, look, I'm really not comfortable with this, and here's why, he's usually like, I agree. Okay, we won't do it. Or in business, I know so many people that, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. This is what massage therapists should do. And I'm like, well, that seems dumb. Why would I do that?
Right.
Or I, for example, was in a networking group that I'm no longer in, where a woman there's a lot of different practitioners around the table who do holistic work, and they do a bunch of different stuff. And there's one woman who just interrupted with everybody, interrupted almost every person, told them what she thought they should be doing in their group, and just demanded that everyone in the group on this day was going to do X, Y, and Z, and this is what we're going to do, and we're all going to do video interviews, and this is just the way of the future, and we're all going to do this.
That sounds horrible.
And this is a group of like 35 people, and this one woman she was the one demanding it all, and everybody else was just like, okay. And I'm like, no. A, you're not going to tell me what to do. And B, those are bad ideas. And C, I'm not paying that much money to do something I don't want to do.
Yeah, totally.
And I was the person that stood up and did that. That's what being brave to me means, is to make the decisions that are best for you after researching them.
Right.
After doing your research and getting educated, making the decisions that are best for you and being brave, especially when it's hard. Yeah. Anyone can be brave when it's easy. Being brave when it's hard, that's courage.
That's awesome. That's a really good point. Finally, Becky, if you had one message to tell women regarding confidence, what would it be?
Your confidence cannot and will not ever come from another human being.
So true.
You will never, your confidence does not come from your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mom, dad, boyfriend, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Husband, wife, your confidence will never ever come from who you marry, what you do for a living, how much money you have, how little money you have, how many followers you have on Instagram, what makeup you buy, what clothes you wear, where you live, what religion you practice. None of that will ever, ever matter, because your confidence can only come from you. And it's up to you to develop that, because there is nothing anybody can do to give you. Oh, no one's going to say, okay, here's your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. And that if you don't develop your confidence, the only person who's really going to miss out is you.
Yeah.
No one else is going to hold your hand and, okay, we have to develop your confidence now. No one's going to do that.
No, they're just
It's up to you, and it's up to you to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, for
sure. They're going to laugh at you or take advantage of you.
Yeah, because that's what's going to happen is when if you don't create your confidence, someone else is going to tell you how to live your life. And then you're going to be stuck doing that rather than deciding how you want to live your life. That's such a really good point. Yeah, you can't be waiting around for someone to give it to you, because it's never going to happen.
Nope. Never.
Yeah, never. For real. Becky, any last thoughts you want to add regarding confidence that we didn't discuss already in the questions above?
I don't think so. I'm sure I'll think of something at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
No, don't make decisions based on what your parents always told you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make decisions based on fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've learned that I'm the only business owner. Well, yeah, pretty much the only standalone business owner in my mother's whole family, and my mother has 6 older siblings.
Whoa.
I have cousins who are grandparents. So when I tell you big family, my poor husband, we've been married 5 years, he has not met them all.
Yeah.
And it's huge. And I'm the only one who's a business owner who said, I'm going to do this on my own. And my parents tried to persuade me otherwise. And people I knew were like, well, this is not a stable career. But the reality is, what you love doesn't matter if it's stable or not. It's what you love, and you'll find a way to make it stable.
Yeah.
So don't make decisions based on fear or based on what your mom says or your grandfather says or what the economy was like 50 years ago or what TV says is a great career to get into, because we got hospitals full of nurses that are terrible at their job because someone told them they should be a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that.
Yeah, it's such a
Make decisions based on what you want.
Awesome.
I mean, don't be a bitch to get them.
Right,
but,
no. Yeah.
Take decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. Be nice and do things from a loving heart, but be strong and stand up for yourself and make decisions for yourself. Don't let someone else do it in the process. That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and I will be in touch. See you later.
Awesome. Have a wonderful evening.
You too. Isn't Becky great? I had so much fun talking with her today, learning more about her opinions on confidence. I hope you enjoyed this interview just as much as I did. If there is something that moved you about it, please leave me a comment. If you enjoyed the whole interview, please share it with your family and friends so others could enjoy it as well. Below you will find Becky's website. If you would like to contact her or look more into her wellness center, that's the best place to reach her. And as always, until later this week when I see you again with our next episode, I hope you have a great week. Cheers and be brave.